The following broadcast is a presentation of iRacing Motorsport Simulations live on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our partners for their support.
He may get the run on the outside, off of the back straightaway. 26 and Hallmark trying to go thhree wide. No one's going to let them.
Talking and bobbing and weaving down the back straightaway, looking for a way around. The 5 machine trying to take a look underneath the 3 car. He's going to dive in down to the bottom. A huge move down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Back bumper. Can anything happen through the tri-oval? Walker Thomas to the inside. Here he comes to the outside. Side by side through the tri-oval. The 14. It's going to be a photo finish to the line. Who's going to get it?
Walker Thomas. Machine coming out of turn number 4. Tiller looking to go 3 wide, almost 4 wide. He's going to try to look for a gap. Bobbing and weaving for the lead down through the tri-oval.
Photo finish.
2 by 2. The 65 gets the win. Hello and welcome, race fans, back to PTR TV, back here with the Rivalry Racing League of their National Championship Cup Series. Tonight here with the Southern 200, I believe. And, yeah, should be a good show, but unfortunately we weren't quite able to capture all of last week due to technical errors, so here's a recap of what happened. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the recap of last week with the Rivalry Racing League. Again, this is the Rivalry Racing League National Championship Truck Series here tonight. I'm Brandon Krutz. Joining me, as always, is Corey Silva and Evan Black. And of course, every night, Corey Silva doubling as our tech producer. Behind the scenes, our quality control specialist, Joe Chris. Thank you for joining us tonight, everybody. Should be a good show from the historic Darlington.
Exactly. The lady in black, the track too tough to tame, however you do want to call it. 1.366 miles here in Darlington, South Carolina. Only about a 2-lane track right up against the fence these drivers will be running, so it is going to be a very difficult race for these trucks.
Yeah, right up against the fence is the fast line, but that is also extremely dangerous to run up there. So I wonder if some drivers will wait till maybe the second half of the race to move up to the very top.
Yeah, it is going to be 150 laps here tonight, so that will make these drivers have to kind of, as you said, Evan, maybe be a little more on the conservative side to make sure that they don't beat the right side off those trucks and they don't get the wheels out of alignment, and make sure they have something to battle with for the win at the end.
Quick rundown of weather, folks. It's right now a nice 78 degrees, partly cloudy. Track temp around 107 degrees. Winds north at about 2 miles an hour, so looks like it should be some awesome racing conditions. Maybe a little bit slick out there, though, guys, the higher track temp.
Yeah, that's not what the drivers need here at Darlington, is anything that takes away the grip, especially as the dynamic track here on iRacing comes into play. It will obviously slicken the track up as the rubber does go down, and unlike many tracks, the 1.5 miles or even some of the short tracks, there's not really any room to change your line here. They're really kind of set to about 1.5 lanes of racing.
And real quick, what do you kind of expect the fuel window to be here tonight, Corey?
And well, with our full fuel loads, we run here in Rivalry. They do have a backup truck, and we are running it in the fixed setups. But with that full fuel load, I'm going to say they can probably go about 60 to 70 laps, probably closer to 60, but I can't imagine any of these drivers wanting to stay out that long.
Yeah, tires are going to be very, very important here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and something that you're going to see pretty much every chance these guys get. They're going to want to bring it down pit road for some Ford Fresh Feel Goods out here. But as we get ready to head over into race mode, these guys are almost out of time for qualifying.
Yep, this is the changeover. The session has completed, so we will bring to you the PTR TV starting lineup here from the Darlington Raceway for the Southern 200 Rivalry Racing League. On tonight's poll with a lap time of 28.975, Bryant Ward on the front row tonight with none other than David Weishart, the guy that has been the man to beat all season thus far. In third, we have Brandon Stokes. In fourth, we have Ricky Fagone. Then in fifth, Travis McDaniel. Bradley Cooper in sixth. Davis Richards in seventh. And Robert Victory in eighth.
Chris Sutton in ninth. Brooks Potts in 10th. Joseph McWhorter in 11th. Phil Gary in 12th. Garrett Grant in 13th. Tim Rosino in 14th. And then running at the field in 15th is Brady Campbell.
Folks, that is your starting lineup for tonight's Southern 200 from the historic Darlington Raceway. Too tough to tame here tonight. See how many people can tame the lady in black, and see how many people can make it to the end of this race. See who will come out on top. Bryant Ward holds a fast time, 28.975. Up here, starting on the front row outside of him is going to be the number 21, David Weishart. Dr. David Weishart puts on a clinic pretty much every week for these guys. See if he can get out front, maybe do it again, but it looks like he may have some competition.
Yeah, we did see a first-time winner last week. You saw it in the recap video. Joseph McWhorter in the 32 got his win on pit strategy there at the end of last week's race at Iowa. So kind of bringing up the points a little bit, that puts him into third, but Weishart is currently up by 12 over Travis McDaniel. That is the points picture right now. Top three, Weishart, McDaniel, and McWhorter. Bryant Ward and Brandon Stokes, the top five, all separated by 38 points.
close points battle here for the most part, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, as Corey stated, top two only separated by 12 points. Not too many positions there. David Weishart, of course, kind of dominated a couple weeks there, so he is well out front in the points lead, sitting pretty good right now. These guys roll out, they'll get stacked up, doubled up, ready to go green flag racing from Darlington Raceway.
Indeed, we do want to give a shout out to our camera specialist. The views you see tonight, Track Cams for Gourmets. You can check out Istvan's work at trackcams22.com or facebook.com/trackcams. Maybe you can enjoy the same views that we have tonight.
So Corey, quick before this restart, which lane do you think is going to prevail, the inside or the top? It looks like Bryant Ward maybe going up to the outside.
I would go with the bottom, preferably, but I can see why he would change that and maybe try that top groove out. So I did see these guys doing some practice runs some practice starts rather in practice to get themselves situated to figure out how it is going to be here. It's going to be a very tight start, but here we come, ready for the green flag.
The iRacing official pace car makes its way down into pit lane. Brian Ward leading 15 trucks to the green for 150 laps around the lady in black. On the throttle they go. Green flag is in the air for the first time tonight.
And so far the outside worked out for Bryant Ward as he is cleared for the lead, and now this battle for second. David Weishart on the bottom, Ricky Fcund on the outside through turns number 1 and 2. We'll see who can get the run out of the corner. Looks like Weishart will clear for second.
That's not where you want to be side by side. Very good job getting it. Here we go. We're wrecking.
On the back. No, they keep it straight. Robert Victory way down up to the inside wall.
He manages to escape at least heavy contact with anything back there. He'll fall back to about third to last place back there now. Now keeps it straight. These guys mostly spread out.
We're going to go back on replay here and check out what happened to the 7 of Robert Victory while we have the moment early in the race, because he's side by side with the 51 at the moment, Davis Richards, who got the apron, and that threw the 7 into the wall, and that could have been a lot worse than it was.
Possible battle for the lead now starting to heat up. Dr. David Weishart right on the back bumper of Brian Ward now 21. Slowly starting to creep up on the back bumper, but here comes the 11 of Brandon Stokes as well, up back in third.
Now, how hard are these guys driving? Are they maybe going a little bit too hard? Darlington is a very abrasive track, as we all know, but right now they are going for the win. Nearly in the fence off of turn 2 was Weishart.
Looks like Weishart may have just barely kissed that wall, not going to hurt him much, if at all. But once again, he's right a little high through 3 and 4, but higher now, cutting down to the bottom, trying to get that run out of turn number 4. Looks like Ward got a bit loose.
Yeah, it is not Valentine's Day, Weishart. He needs to avoid those kisses right there as we come into turn number 1. Here comes Stokes in the 11. Thought he was going to have a little bit of a look, but he did drop back. But the battle is still on. Here comes Weishart off of 2.
Coming down off of turn number 2, down the back straight away now the 44 is starting to creep away just a little bit, not quite there. Now Weishart dives it deep into the corner. Brandon Stokes struggling to keep up with the top 2 now. Now still nose to tail are the 2 leaders. Now right to the back bumper, looking to the inside of the 21.
Weishart taking a look down the front straightaway, now down into turn number 1. It's backing off a little bit off of the back bumper of that number 44 through 1 and 2. We'll see if we can get that exit out of 2 and down the backstretch.
Weishart got a little bit loose down there, heading off of turn number 2 that last time by. He seems to be driving it in a lot harder than that 44 machine is, guys. Now, Stokes still kind of lurking back there, but struggling to keep up with these top 2 as Ward gets really loose down off of turn number 4 that last time by, allows the 21 machine of Weishart to catch back up.
Looks like Weishart is a lot better through 3 and 4 than Ward, but looks like Ward is better through 1 and 2.
Now, Evan, I know you got to see it last week in the abbreviated coverage we had at Iowa. We saw Weishart get out to a very large lead and then drop back later in the run. I'm really starting to think he's pushing a little bit too hard right now.
Yeah, we'll find out here in about 20 laps or so who was pushing too hard. But it looks like Weishart is already starting a bit tight. He had to get the throttle there out of turn number 4 to not hit that wall.
And this is bringing Travis McDaniel in the 2. He is lurking right behind Stokes in the 11 machine, trying to get a 4-car battle up here. But again, here comes Weishart down the back straightaway.
Down the back straightaway now heading down into turn number 3. Difficult places to pass here at the Darlington Raceway. So narrow. These guys really going to have to try to find another way around now on a turn number 4 this last time by across the stripe. Advantage still goes to the 44 of Ward, and he's in a pretty good position out front right now.
He's in the best position, but I don't know how comfortable he is in that scenario right now because he does not have a moment to breathe. He must be mirror driving ridiculously out of that truck right now. You could see he got a little bit better run off of corner number 2 down the back straightaway, got a little bit of a buffer.
Brandon Stokes still hanging on to that 3rd position, but McDaniel is trying to get around him. McDaniel did post the fastest lap of the race, but back out front, the battle. I thought the 21 was going to take a look for the lead, but he decided not to.
Very difficult to pass at the Darlington Raceway. The lady in black, too tough to tame. Now Weissard maybe going to try to look for a way around. He dives down low, side by side, heading into the corner. Ward lets him go, not wanting to cause any incidents this early in the race.
Yeah, he held them off for about 8.5 laps, but decided, all right, you have the faster truck, you go for it. I'm going to settle, but he can't settle for too long because he's going to have Stokes and McDaniel breathing on his back.
Yeah, Weissart already starting to pull away from Bryant Ward, now almost up to about a half a second lead already.
All that battling managed to bring the 11 of Stokes and the 2 of McDaniel into the picture. Now Stokes is going to try to look down low. Byron Ward gets up on the outside wall just a little bit. Stokes has nowhere to go. He's going to have to fall back in line.
That was the first Darlington stripe I think we could see for the number 44 machine. We'll bring up the lap tracker this time by. You could see on the lap graph that the 21 was about a 10th faster than anybody last time by. Only one that was in the 30s, in the 30 O's.
So the 21 machine really starting to pull away from these guys now. These guys really flirting with the wall up on the high side now. Starting to get spread out, but Brian Ward especially, I see flirting with that outside wall just about every lap at every corner. He bounces kind of off the bottom of the racetrack, slides up the racetrack, and just kind of kisses it.
Yeah, which technically, I mean, it'll work. It'll do what it needs to do for him. It'll help the truck turn, if anything, just a little bit, but you can only do that so many times. Eventually, you're going to get some damage from that. Here we are, lap number 12, top 4 separated by just under 1 second as David Weishart is up by about 0.4 of a second over Bryant Ward. Brandon Stokes about 0.2 behind that. Battle still on for 3rd. McDaniels is on the back bumper of Stokes, but hasn't been able to really make any kind of moves yet.
Yeah, not quite yet. The 11, Brandon Stokes, kind of in a better position right now. He's got a truck in front of him, and McDaniel won't be able to pull any moves on him quite this time in the race. So I'd want to be in the position that Stokes is in right now, but now Stokes starting to gain onto the back bumper to 44.
Yeah, as the 2 is still gaining on the 11 is still gaining on the 44.
Oh boy, he got really loose that last time by. McDaniel trying to look at the high side, not going to be able to do it that time by.
Yeah, I think that 44 of Ward is really starting to fall off the pace here. I think he's burned his tires up just a little bit too much. So now he's holding up the 11 and the 2.
Yeah, so we will see perhaps the 11, perhaps the 2, maybe one of them is on the same pace as the 21 under clear circumstances, but right now they do not have that. The 44, you can see the big slide off of 2. He'll pull it to the inside. I thought he was going to try to get out of the way, but even with that slide, he actually got a pretty good run.
Stokes right up to the back bumper to 44 that time by. Now loose is Brian Ward, very, very loose. He stacks him up behind him, trying to look for a way around his Stokes. Still can't get by that 44.
Yeah, now down into turn number 1. McDaniel was kind of taking a look to the outside of that number 11 as Stokes was trying to get by the 44. Looks like Ward wants to get a little bit loose out of 2, but so is Stokes.
There's not many opportunities to pass here at Darlington. You might be able to get him entering turn 1 if you have the position to the inside. You might be able to get him on the outside entering turn number 3, but other than that, it's not very easy. Big wiggle from the 11 there even off of 4.
Now,
the 2 machine looking at the low side.
Yeah, McDaniel taking a dive down into turn 1, side by side through that corner. That is not where you want to be side by side. It looks like Stokes might be just letting him go.
Someone's going to have to give off a quarter number 2. It's going to be the 11. Is there going to be a bit of a crossover? Looks like he's thinking about it, but he does not have the momentum. McDaniels into P3.
But look how much time they lost to Ward just from making that pass.
Just that little bit of side-by-side cost them about 0.7 of a second to the 44. Has dropped them about 3 seconds off of Weishart for the lead.
These two drivers still in close proximity to one another now. Stokes starting to fall off just a little bit.
McDaniel on the wall.
Hard contact and outside wall. He keeps it going. Will Stokes maybe try to look low? He does. McDaniel gets loose again down off of turn number 2. Side by side down the back straightaway.
So Stokes will back out of it. He doesn't want to make him that move once again. Down into 3 and 4. Now Stokes really starting to fall off.
Try to follow that little bit of a wall contact the 2 had. I was actually about to watch another battle while that happened. You see here through turn number 1 and 2, it does look like, yep, right in the fence there. Just got too wide on the center of the corner, but still hanging on to the second position.
So those two, looks like they are going nose to tail now. Now Brandon Stokes once again, just when we think the battle is over, Stokes trying to put the nose to him again, isn't quite able to get there. And guys, with them racing this hard, still pretty early, they're starting to wear their tires off.
Yeah, most certainly. We've already dropped off about 1.5 seconds since where we started the race at. So on lap number 20, not sure what these guys are going to pull for a fuel load. Maybe they're going to go to lap 50 and try to do a 2-stop race. So if that's the case, they still have a lot more to drive.
Yeah, I think lap 50 is kind of when we will see most drivers pit, but Stokes really loose out of turn 4. Lost a lot of this time to McDaniel.
Also worth noting, guys, that Brady Campbell and Tim Rosono did not take the grid today. Garrett Grant is currently in 12th, 2 laps down already, and Chris Seidenfaden is in the pits gaining laps down. He's about 8 laps down at the moment. So currently we have 11 drivers on the lead lap right now.
Weishart just got into the wall a little bit through 3 and 4.
Little bit loose down off of turn number 4 that last time by, but guys, he still has a massive lead down over the rest of the field.
Stokes also had a huge wiggle out of 4 and just about went into that inside wall.
And that's brought Ricky Fagone in the 20. Now he's going to take a stab at the 4th position here. They're coming off of turn number 2 right now. Fagone in the 20 has kind of run his own pace there, hasn't been up there with these guys, but trying to take these positions as the run progresses.
Something I'm starting to really notice, guys, is it's not just these guys that have been racing, but it's been pretty much everybody that's starting to get really, really loose. I noticed Weishart starting to get very loose himself. Obviously, Brandon Stokes is getting sideways through the corners. McDaniel starting to lose the back end on his
don't want to
truck.
cut you off, Brandon. We do have a battle right now for about the 7th position. It's Joseph McOrder, Brooks Potts, and Bradley Cooper. 3 of them are bumper to bumper to bumper here off corner number 2.
So now Potts getting a little loose out of 2. That's going to allow the 5 of Cooper maybe to take a look. Nope, he's not quite close enough. Now down into turn 3. Looks like the 50 has really lost the handle now of that truck.
5 Machine dives it down deep into the corner, now heading down off of turn number 4. Down the front straightaway, the 50 Machine, he managed to get through him that last time by. It just looks like all these guys' tires really starting to wear off on him.
Yeah, I think McOrder was able to pass those drivers just about a lap or 2 ago. We didn't quite catch that battle, but he's up to 6th now, last week's winner from Iowa. And it looks like Brandon Stokes may have been in the wall hard there off of corner number 4. Let's see if we can go back and catch that, because he's rather slow on the front straightaway right now. But let's see here. We're going to go on board with him. And, yep, he got stuffed. He's just got sucked into the safer barrier there. That allowed Fagone to pass him.
Yeah, quite a bit of damage on that right front of that 11 Machine. So I don't know how much that will hurt him. We will find out, though.
So we are 25 now on lap number 26 out of 150 that are scheduled here tonight at Darlington. David Weishart still out to about a 3-second lead. It is a leveling out just a little bit over Bryant Ward. We'll pull up the battle tracker quickly and see what is the situation right now. And they ran about identical laps, a hair faster to the 44.
Yeah, and McDaniel behind him was actually even a little bit quicker.
See the gap right now. We'll see as it passes. Weishart will run a 31.169. We'll wait for Ward to pass the stripe and update. Actually, a little bit faster last time for Weishart, but not much.
No, a little bit. A lot of it faster because I think Ward had an issue. He was about a second slower than Weishart.
Ward getting really loose down to the corner here, completely sideways, down off of turn number 2, side by side for the position.
Yeah, I completely neglected the seconds column on that, not really thinking about it, but yes, indeed, 1 second slower. Thanks for the correction there, Evan, but as Ward falls back to 3rd, McDaniel up to 2nd. And
McDaniel on the wall.
Boy.
Everyone's in the wall.
You could tell here the struggle going on for these drivers here tonight, and still, this race is only in its infant stages. Still about 122 laps to go of this here tonight. Does look like McDaniel is pulling away, but the battle's still on. It looks like Brooks Potts in the 50 has closed the back bumper of McWhorter. Battle for 6 shaping up as McWhorter is loose off a 2.
32 machine really loose. That allowed the 50 machine to go by him up on the high side there. All these trucks starting to lose the handling, starting to lose the rear end. It's becoming very difficult, or so it seems now. The 50 machine about lost it down off of turn number 4. The back end of these race trucks starting to step out, proving very difficult for these drivers.
It's like there's just no grip out there, front or rear. These drivers are just slipping and sliding.
Yeah, now, Brandon, you did call out a little earlier that the track temp was a little higher than usual here tonight, so perhaps, especially with the practice and such, that they are really taking the grip away from this Darlington Raceway a little bit earlier than expected.
Yeah, absolutely, and that, I think these guys just weren't knowing what to expect in the first run here. Maybe drove the trucks a little bit harder than they should have, and I think all these guys about wore all the grip off their Goodyear tires here tonight. Oh, McWhorter again, really losing all the way to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to save that machine. Good job by him, but yeah, man, oh man, these guys losing all the grip. Lady in Black proving to be too tough to tame so far here tonight.
Yeah, probably about 20 more laps so they can do it on a 2-stop race. But I wonder if any of them will try maybe a 3-stop or something, Corey. What do you think?
I love how you completely skipped Brandon for a pit strategy statement there.
That's understandable.
No, I know. But so let's put on our math hats, shall we? Which automatically means that my head's going to explode. So if we go, the basic strategy I think right now is pit on lap 50, then you pit on lap 100, 350 lap stints to the end. Of course, all considering that this is under green. If you want to be a little creative, maybe you go 40, 80, 120. That puts you in 4 runs of... See, I'm already getting confused here. But either way, it's an extra pit stop.
4 runs of 4, or 3 runs of 40.
Yeah.
Or no, 4 runs of 40.
Except the last one's only 30. So you'd be 40, yes. 40, 40, and 30 to equal 150. So you're putting an extra stop in there, but each run's going to be a little bit shorter. You're going to get advantage on those tires. As Big Wiggle all the way in the back here. I saw McDaniel all the way to the inside. He's dropped 6 seconds off of Weishart now, but I think that strategy, with as difficult as these drivers are having of a time right now, I think that strategy may be more inviting than stretching it to lap 50.
Yeah, I think the 3-stop is going to be the stop that most people choose, and they can start coming to pit road probably in, what, like 7 laps,
yeah.
I think?
Or even earlier if you want to do even better mathematics, maybe 36, whatever times 4 equals 150, but yeah, the pit window should be opening really any time now. We haven't seen anybody come into the pits yet that is currently on the racetrack right now. Davis Richards in the 51 is the first to go a lap down at the moment. Garrett Grant, I think he had some kind of issues. He's 2 laps down, and then of course Seiden Faden, I think he's done for the night, I do believe, in the 13th position.
So these guys, this time around, will have 35 laps in the books, and yeah, tires becoming very noticeably worn out here so far. And Evan was saying, you know, about 20 more laps these guys could go on 2 stops, and
Personally, I wouldn't want to do that as a driver. I think as another big wiggle from McDaniel down off turn number 2. Personally, I think these guys are going to try to split it so that way they wouldn't have to do that, but we haven't seen anybody come in yet.
Yeah, I kind of think most of these drivers will come down pit road here in about 5 laps and then do the 3-stop race. Just with 30 laps in, or 36 laps in, and they're already over 2 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, so just think about that in terms of the pit stops. If you pit right now, you're gaining 2 seconds a lap. So with about 30-second laps here at Darlington, 15 laps, basically you'd unlap yourself on fresh tires right now. So extrapolate that over the course of a run, and which strategy works, which strategy doesn't. We've seen it many a times, and I still have no idea what the answer is.
The answer is that one of the strategies will work.
Yes. And we'll find that out at the end of this race.
I don't know if I caught this or if one of you guys did, but Ricky Fagone in the 20, I think he's, let's bring up his stats here for a second. I think
he just now got by him.
Yeah, he started in 4th, dropped back a little bit, but now he's all the way up to 3rd again, so he's just been kind of methodically saving his tires as best as possible, and heck, he's got 9 seconds to get to Weishart, but still, top 3 so far, but still a lot of ways to go.
And Weishart is up to about a 5.8 second lead. It's kind of stabilized now over McDaniel. They're running pretty much the same lap times.
And guys, this far without a yellow flag at Darlington is something we don't see too often, something that these drivers likely don't get to experience too often. How do you think that that's playing off in their heads right now?
Well, I think we've had quite a few instances that maybe should have been a caution. People getting really sideways and hitting the walls pretty hard, but this track is tough enough to do 1 lap. It's really, really hard to do 50 consecutive laps.
Yeah, and you have to imagine, I mean, I did see these guys practicing. They were really putting some effort in to try to make sure that this race could go as smoothly as it can, and they were having some trouble, but I think they figured out what they're doing, and they're all in their own little bubble right now. And we've said it many times, this is the kind of situation where you don't expect a caution to come out, but how many times and how many races have we done where we didn't expect a caution? And
a lot.
Oh, here comes Weishart with the hard left. We know how difficult this Darlington pit entry is, but
and this is right at 41 laps.
I'm pretty sure he got sideways there on that entry, but yes, looks like he's going to do the 3-stop race, as we said, splitting it in 40-lap segments. It will give McDaniel the lead at the stripe, so give him that bonus point.
Oh. Number 11, Brandon Stokes, goes around. It looked like he was trying to get into pit road.
But he's far enough off the track, it did not bring a caution out, but he did a full 360.
That's going to hurt his positions by quite a bit.
Yeah, it looks like he just, maybe, I don't know if he locked the wheels up or just maybe just expected more grip down there than he actually received, but
it seems like he just downshifted and then the back end broke loose. He just went around.
I mean, that's something we didn't really talk about, guys. Darlington's pit road, it's not so much like a 1.5 miles where you kind of slow down off of 4 and just pull to the left a little bit and you're there. It is completely off the banking. It is well off the racing surface, so you really have to plan for it and nail that approach, or you're going to obviously have what happened with Stokes.
So McDaniel's still staying out. I have to think he's going to be going for the 2-stop strategy. If he stayed out this long, so he's pretty much, after he stays out after 1 lap, he is committed to the 2-stop.
And that's just kind of, that's how it kind of works with strategies, and it's really the toughest part of strategies is a big wiggle there. You really have to not suck yourself into getting nervous. Oh my God, I'm losing time. These guys are passing me. He just has to run his race and just not worry about getting past now, because that's not what it matters. It matters at the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Travis McDaniel kind of taking his time here. He just let Brandon Stokes go. They're up on the high side. Big wiggle down out of turn number 2 that last time around. And now heading into turn 3, still not coming in. So as Evan said, I think he's going to try an alternate strategy.
Had another car really sideways entering pit road, the 50 Brooks Potts. He did not completely go around, but he drifted down on the apron.
Now, speaking of cars going around and possible cautions, if there were a yellow that were to come out right about now, guys.
Oh, sorry, I'm watching. I was watching Stokes there. We got him on the replay there, and a little bit of Tokyo drift on that entry there, but he did keep it going. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
Good timing for that. If there was a caution that were to come out from, you know, somebody going around, as easy as that is here, Travis McDaniel would look like a hero, first of all. But everybody else could be devastated.
Yeah, but something, and this is obviously a technical thing on the iRacing side with how cautions are determined. The racing surface at Darlington, the actual racing surface that iRacing deems, is very narrow. So once you get off of that surface, if you spin far to the inside, iRacing doesn't deem it to be spun on the racing surface. It doesn't activate the algorithm that creates a caution flag. So
isn't it pretty much only just above the white line?
Essentially, yeah.
So that is very little room that a car has to be in to bring the caution out.
Down the back straightaway even, somebody could be wrecked against the inside back wall, and I've seen this from experience. It will not trigger a caution. You have to spin on the racing surface, so that really only means that it's going to be a multi-car incident. So right now, still waiting for McDaniel. I expect within a lap or two, that would be the 50-lap strategy. Him, Fagone, Ward, and Phil Gary. Haven't mentioned, actually, Gary now coming onto pit lane. Haven't mentioned him all night, really. So that leaves 3 drivers, and he will take it one more trip around at the least, is the number 2 machine.
I think it most likely come down pit road next time.
Weishart has unlapped himself. He is in the middle of 1 and 2 now, as McDaniel is just coming off of corner number 2. And that usually is how this strategy works. Usually the guys who pit earlier will be able to unlap themselves. And here he comes with the setup. He will enter pit road, and what kind of entry will he have?
We'll find out right now. Looks pretty smooth.
I think the smoothest entry we've seen thus far.
Yeah, good entry by McDaniel. As well as Garrett Grant coming down behind him. I believe he is already a lap or 2 down.
Indeed he is, so this...
Fagone's still staying out.
I would expect that 20 machine to come in this time by.
I think he did register as the lap leader that time by, so we know with the point standings how vital every single point is, and here he comes.
Here he comes.
Everybody going with the very conservative pit entry here. You really can't afford to do anything other than that. You can see there the yellow line, how late it does start in the center of this corner, but I don't know anybody who's going to risk entering the pits that late. But with Fagone on pit lane now, Weishart is exiting, I believe it to be corner number 4. Yes, he is. So this will shake him back out into the lead. We will see what the gap is once everything does shake out. But now that that cycle has ended, we are going to go to a side-by-side commercial break here. We'll be back with you in a moment here, or cut back if anything happens. So again, stay with us.
The car behind me is my Chili Bowl midget, the one that I won the Chili Bowl with. And what's interesting about that is it's actually the car that iRacing scanned that's going to be available to all the iRacing members out there.
And we're back here to PTR TV after that little bit of a side-by-side commercial break. Back to the action here. Haven't missed anything up front. David Weishart is still leading, and that lead is now 18 seconds.
And can I just add that he just lapped third place?
Now, remember, there is dual strategies going on right now. So remember, he is due to pit in about, I think it is 20 more laps. So this is kind of expected. Remember, he is on the freshest tires now compared to anybody else. Actually, no.
Yeah,
wait, hold on. Actually, I take that back.
He did.
I take that back.
He's on the oldest tires.
So his lead should be disintegrating,
which it is a little bit to McDaniel.
We'll bring up
Who's 10 seconds ahead of Weishart.
Battle tracker right now, a half second faster was McDaniel, but is an 18-second gap. But again, we have to account for the fact that Weishart is going to be making an extra stop. So it's going to be a matter of, I mean, we know how fast he is, and he did have a very big lead before his pit stop, but I'm not quite positive that even with that extra stop that it's going to deteriorate for enough to anybody to get him.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
but what we're gonna do now, something that we haven't done before, but we have the time to do it. We can give you a little bit of a driver analysis presented by Krutz Custom Graphics. So we're gonna kind of give you a little more in-depth information as to how these drivers have been running this season. Starting with David Weishart, who has been, as I think Brandon calls him, the doctor. He has led of the entering this race. This league has run about 951 laps. I think a little bit more than that, but he's led 565, nearly half of the laps. The number 21 has led. He has won 3 races. He's won 5 poles out of the 7 races. 5 top 5s, a top 10 in every single race, and his average finish is about 3rd. So what more can you ask?
Not much more.
Yeah. Not bad.
So
Not bad at all.
So we'll just go down the line. Whoever wants to take second.
Well, Brendan, you can go first. It's your since you're sponsoring it.
I didn't know I was sponsoring it until about 2 seconds ago, but well, who do we have next on the list?
Travis McDaniel in second position.
Yeah, so Travis McDaniel out of the 7 races doesn't have any poles, surprisingly. He does have 2 wins, however. Average start is 5th, and his win rate about 28% at the moment. Average finish is around 4th, so still really good statistics. He has 5 top 5s. And 6 top 10s, so...
Weishart just kind of the wall started to cut you off, Brandon.
Yep, I did notice that out of the corner of my eye, and he keeps it going, A-okay. So, out of the 7 races, McDaniel does have 6 top 10s, and has about 909 laps on his plate.
And in 3rd, Ricky Fagonde. Average start of about 6.71. No poles yet. No wins yet. Average finish about 8.43. So he's running quite a bit better than his average finish. Running in 3rd place right now. 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s. He's led about 20 laps and has almost the lowest incident count besides David Weishart.
Yeah, so that's a good stat right there. And then the 4th spot right now is Bryant Ward. Bryant Ward out of the 7 races. His best finish was a 2nd at Watkins Glen a few weeks ago. Remember, he probably had the truck to win if he didn't make that mistake in the pits, but has not won a race, has not led any laps this season, surprisingly, but has finished in the top 5 3 times.
Oh boy, sorry to cut you off, Corey. Brandon Stokes just had a huge wiggle, keeps it going.
Yep.
Everything A-okay.
Got 3 top 5s and 6 top 10s for Ward. I think we could probably go to top 5. Oh, we have some stuff going on here. Someone had a big wiggle there down the back straightaway. We'll round it out. We'll do top 5. We'll do Brandon Stokes. Wrap up that.
Yeah, so Brandon Stokes has started all 7 events so far. No poles for him so far this season. Average start around 9th. Average finish around 8th. He has 5 top 10 finishes, only 3 top 5 finishes. Still not bad out of the 7 races, however. And he has about 57 laps led.
All right, so that's kind of at least the top 5. We'll do some more later on if we have the moment, but let's kind of just wrap up and see if anything has happened. We saw some wiggling going on. Some drivers obviously still struggling with the handling. As remember, most of these drivers, as we'll pull up our stint graphic right now and let you know how long the pit stops have been. You can see Weishart's been out for 29 laps. Freshest tires are actually on the 3rd place machine, Ricky Fagone.
So, yeah, these guys still very spread out from one another. Corey's going to get really mad at me for stealing his job here, but a couple track facts about the Darlington Raceway built
if you know this, all the power to you. Go for it.
Built 1949, opened in 1950, so about 68 years ago. Currently owned by the International Speedway Corp. Very well known. Owns about half the tracks on the circuit today. Fun fact about the banking on this track is, well, it was never actually used for racing when it was first built, and the banking when they first started racing at this track, as common at a lot of racetracks back in the 50s and 60s, was just there to catch any cars from flying over the side of the racetrack. These guys raced on the flat until some genius discovered that if he ran up on the banked part, he went a lot faster than running on the flat there. So then these guys, well, this became sanctioned by NASCAR, and tracks started to change around a little bit, and more high bank tracks started to become built. These guys started running on the banks, and that's why a lot of people wonder why the track and the racing surface is so narrow. Well, it was never intended to be raced on.
And why is Darlington shaped the way it is? I mean, I don't want to pan out and screw up the camera right now, but there is a minnow pond off of corner number 4. And that minnow pond, they did not want to ruin the pond building the track, so they could not build a perfect oval. So that is why Darlington has its X shape.
Never knew that.
Yeah, you actually can see it. Maybe I can, if we have another break, I can get that camera ready. But there is, it actually is modeled at iRacing. You can go back and see the pond, and they didn't want, the owner of the land said, "You're not going to touch my pond if you're going to build this track." So they had to make it asymmetrical and accommodate that.
Yeah, and it became a very interesting racetrack for sure. And you know, most people find it interesting about the banking and everything. That's why everything is so wide. They just don't use any of it.
I know somebody, I was talking on the forum, iRacing forum, with some people about VHT, the PJ1 track bite. We always talk about that at Bristol, and I think they tried it at Charlotte and New Hampshire.
Yes, they did.
Worked to various degrees, and people are like, well, as a joke, put it on the apron at Darlington. I wonder what that would act like. I really hope they don't do that.
No, I don't see them doing that.
Put it up there at Indy, in like the 2nd or 3rd lane.
Yeah, right?
It might make that track better.
Not sure if you can make that track any better for NASCAR racing.
They were supposed to put an apron there. It used to be there, actually, when they first tested Indianapolis in the early 90s. There was an apron there, and they were actually able to use that as another lane, widen the groove out, but they were supposed to put it back, and they never did. They got too cheap. They were going to put lights there and all this stuff, and they did none of it, but just take NASCAR away.
It is a very big racetrack to work with.
Just take IRP. Just go to IRP, Lucas Oil, whatever it's called.
I second that statement.
And just run Indy cars there, and let us do our thing on the short track. But we're at Darlington. Why are we talking about Indianapolis?
Because we started talking about tracks.
Yeah.
We ran out of track facts for Darlington, so apparently we went on to other racetracks. Next week on the schedule for these guys, right after Darlington, the Rivalry Racing League. Trying to find it here. Charlotte Charlotte is the next track on the schedule. And not too many races left for these guys. Very short season for Rivalry Racing League. They've got Charlotte, and it is on the chase for the 4 races in the chase.
Brandon Stokes on the pit lane. And I think he is also on the 40 stop strategy.
That's a lot of pit stops.
Yeah, he's on the 40
Wow.
the 40 lap stint strategy, which would lead him to pit lane now.
Corey, I don't think the 40 stop strategy would win the race.
No, I don't think so.
I have a feeling these drivers probably want to take 40 pit stops and get fresh tires, but I don't expect that to be the winning strategy indeed, so we'll see. That would bring Weishart, and here he comes.
Yep. Weishart coming down pit road for
his second.
Weishart
Whoa!
really sideways.
Is he going to make it back into the pits?
Yes, he will, just barely.
Tokyo drifting it down into pit lane as David Weishart manages to still make it in. I'm sure lost a lot of time, but with how far of a lead he has, I'm not sure if he's really that concerned about it.
Yeah, he can just be as conservative as he needs, as McDaniel will take the lead. And something to note, Brandon, about Charlotte next week. It is an all-star night. There is obviously playoffs involved in Rivalry, and there is a last chance qualifier. I think 2 more drivers will be eligible for the playoffs regarding the finish in the All-Star, and we will have more details for that during the week. And we will make sure you're well aware of the rules as we find them out ourselves. But that will be a fun night. We know Charlotte in the trucks can put on a really good show.
Yeah, it's usually pretty multi-groove racing.
Other tracks on the schedule: Auto Club, Pocono, Kentucky, and then we will wrap it up at Atlanta, which I think that is a really fun track to wrap a season up at. As Ricky Fagone,
yeah, absolutely.
Ricky Fagone on pit lane.
20 machine making his way to go.
Oh, the
do
5
his
Bradley
stops.
Cooper stopped down on the apron. I believe that is 1 and 2.
He's gonna keep it going. No
caution.
caution.
Yeah, he spun in the middle of the speedway.
He just about came back up onto the racing surface, but still no caution for that to get the back going.
Something happened with him in the 11.
Looking, it looks
the 11 of Stokes had fresh tires. He came out like a bat out of hell there and just tried to get to the inside of him, but wasn't able to do so. Got into the back bumper first.
Oh, boy.
And then the 5 just, I mean, if you want to talk about Tokyo Drift, but he spun out, and I
don't know how there wasn't a yellow.
He didn't have anybody around him, and by the time the 44 got to him, he was off of, as we said, he was off of the racing surface.
Boy, oh boy.
He was very close to it, but
ride.
He was below the dotted white line, so that does not count as the racing surface. So we stay clean and green, and also worth noting, we are past the halfway point. So if there is a rain delay, we are, this is an official race.
Well, it looks like it's a little bit cloudy, but I don't think there's going to be any rain out there.
I don't see any rain clouds around here today, so.
Snow clouds, maybe? I mean, with the weather we've had recently in the Northeast, even though we're not in the Northeast.
Well, it is partly cloudy. I don't see any major changes in the weather since we started, so I think we'll be okay.
In case the track breaks up and they can't repair it in time, I mean.
Yes, because these things will totally happen, Corey.
Hey, entertainment. All right, we have Davis Richards in our YouTube chat now, kind of explaining how next week's going to go as a kind of a primitive form. Now you guys carry on. I'm going to try to...
yeah, I'm trying to figure this out too.
I'm going to translate that, and when I translate that, what I just read in chat...
It is an LCQ for the chase, so last chance qualifier for the chase. So...
Okay, so 9 to the rest of the points that I've made 6 or 7 races will race the LCQ.
Okay, so from 9th in points on back.
Yes,
that
have made 6 or 7 races.
Yes. So top 2 in the LCQ race make the chase, with the rest of the top 8 in points. So 10 drivers will make the chase going into Auto Club.
Yeah, so kind of.
You're welcome for explaining that to you, Corey.
Well, it took a team effort to decipher that, but we figured it out.
Somebody making contact with that inside wall.
Robert
Victory. That inside wall heading into the pits.
Did he have a contract for that contact?
No, it was a contract.
Right in front of the
contract.
5. Oh boy.
It's like he just broke loose, maybe on a downshift, and hit that inside wall.
I think it's the
What
second.
it looked like.
I think it's the second driver we've had that happen to, and just given the strategies, guys, we currently have McDaniel and Ward. They are P1 and 2. Right now, McDaniel is on the front straightaway, and Bryant Ward is 15 seconds behind him, just now coming off of corner number 4. And those drivers are on the same strategy, so ultimately McDaniel has a 15-second buffer over his competition in third. But Weishart has just unlapped himself. He is 28 seconds off of the lead in third, and these are the only 3 drivers on the lead lap right now.
So, which strategy do you think is going to work, Corey? And Brandon, you can chime in too.
Well, I don't know if the strategy is going to work, because even if the strategy works, I still think Weishart's just going to win on pure speed, and that's going to overcome any kind of interval.
Our man behind the scenes just said that he's going for the 40-stop strategy.
That's going to win, he says. I think the 2-stop's going to win it.
The way that things are looking now, obviously Weishart has the biggest lead once everything cycles through completely, but McDaniel on this 2-stop strategy, he might be able to hold off.
Now, ultimately, the final decision, or the final factor that's going to help us decide, is going to be on lap 120. When Weishart makes what his final stop should be, we're going to find out what the deficit is, and then ultimately, does he have enough laps to eat into it? So.
Oh, the 7 machine goes around, hard contact at the inside wall.
But he is off of the racing surface, so there will not be a caution. But he is out there
smoking. Get completely sideways. He just went almost head on to the outside wall and hit that thing at about a 45-degree angle. Let's see if we can go back on PCR TV replay.
He never was able to pull it back down onto the inside groove off of corner number 2, and just bounced between walls there, and that is terminal damage. But remember, they do have a reset, they do have a fast repair, they do have a backup truck, whatever we want to call it.
So that was a heavy hit for him. Travis McDaniel still out there in front right now, still waiting for him to come down and make his final biz dub of the night here on the 2-stop strategy.
And this would be, we'd assume him in about 8 laps. Him and Ward, respectively. Also, Phil Gary and Brooks Potts are also on the same strategy, but they are off of the lead lap right now.
So, Brandon, 2 or 3 stop? What you think?
Just, I have a lot of faith in the 2-stop strategy, but just to be different, I feel like Weishart might be able to pull away with this thing at the very end. So I'm going to go with 3-stop, but I know nothing about strategy, so...
Famous words, I'm a dirt guy.
Yeah, pretty much. Our strategy is to not have a strategy and to wreck. Not wreck. We don't want to wreck.
Do we really want to turn this into asphalt versus dirt again?
The more I look at how far back Weishart is, I think he's actually going to win. I don't think the 2-stop's going to work. Just with how much quicker he is and how much time you can gain on those fresher tires.
Like right now, he is 19 seconds behind in third.
With an extra pit stop.
So
yes.
McDaniel is going to pit and go about a lap and a half back, and then he'll get the lead. He'll end up getting the lead back, probably getting about a 10-second lead, and then probably 30 laps to go to gain 10 seconds. That won't be very much of a task.
Yes, exactly.
You're just glad that I thought of that so you didn't have to.
But just to be different, I'm still going to go with
along.
McDaniel. In his 2-stop.
Now
Couple guys still getting pretty sideways here.
Weishart is not very far off the back bumper of the 44. So I do believe we're going to have a battle for second pretty shortly.
No, we're not going to have a battle because he's got like 40 lap pressure tires or 30 lap pressure tires, so it's not going to be much of a battle.
Well, in basic terms, it is a battle. It just won't be very difficult as he has a little bit of trouble passing Brooks Potts there, does Weishart, all the way to the inside of the track, but he does manage to complete the pass. So this is lap number 47 for McDaniel in the 2. So we would expect him to pit lane right at the century mark, lap number 100. So about 2 more laps for him, we do expect.
And there's the battle. 4 seconds, and it's over.
Lap difference between those 2 drivers. We'll bring up the battle tracker just for laps right now. A 31.93 for Gary to a 38 for Weishart, so 1.3 seconds. So yeah, a little bit of a speed difference there.
I think we'll see Weishart or McDaniel coming down pit road this time by. So he is taking lap 100 now.
See if he does pit, he will take the hard left, probably down the middle of the back straightaway, and there he does go. Let's see.
Yep, Bryant Ward on pit road as well.
Let's see what kind of. He had a very good entry last time, did the 2, and does a very safe entry again. So again, we have to see how this plays out. He's gonna have to go 50 more laps. He's gonna lose the lead. He's gonna get it back. But will he have enough tire and enough time and enough truck to hold the lead over Weishart? That is ultimately the battle that we are going to be watching for.
So about 50 laps to go now. Weishart back to the lead. And he'll probably have, like you said, about a lap and a half lead over McDaniel. So we'll see who will be able to get it here in 49 laps.
Yeah, we're still waiting for McDaniel. He is just now exiting his pit stall. And Weishart is just now lapping him, so McDaniel will be just about maybe a lap and a quarter back, close, or between that and a lap and a half, so I guess I pretty much was right in my guess. See, now that they're up to speed, Weishart entering corner number 3. And here comes McDaniel into corner number 3. So he should be able to unlap himself within, I'd say, 5 laps tops. But again, it's going to be interesting to see how it does play out. So stay tuned as we go to a final side-by-side commercial break. So stay tuned. We'll be back with you for the finish.
When I was 16 years old, I was working in a Goodyear tire store, and my boss actually built an old dirt car, street stock Monte Carlo. Went with him one night, fell in love with it. It was a hell of a race, hell of a party, and a big fight afterwards. I was like, this is it. This is it for me. It wasn't long after that, I was driving an old 78 Camaro out of the weeds at that guy's farm. We pulled that thing out and made a race car out of it, and away we went. You know, I think a driver has more to do with the equation going back and racing dirt, whether it's a modified, a late model.
Welcome back, race fans, back to Darlington Raceway. The lady in black, too tough to tame so far. It's David Weishart out front. Some interesting strategy going on here between two-stop or three-stop strategy. Right now, David Weishart on the three-stop strategy and Travis McDaniel on the two-stop strategy. And it should be interesting to the end here.
Yeah, right now, McDaniel on those 21-lap fresher tires. He is down about 23 seconds off the leader, but currently running about 1.5 seconds faster per lap. But remember, that does not matter. What matters for him is he's going to need to stay ahead of Weishart when Weishart pits and gets those fresher tires.
And it looks like you lose about 50 seconds to come down pit road and get your service. So this may actually end up working out for McDaniel. We will find out.
So let's see. Weishart is going to pit in 8 laps, so he will lose about a second a lap. Will be conservative, so he'll lose 8 seconds, which means McDaniel will be about 13 to 14 seconds behind when Weishart pits. As somebody was in the wall there down the back straightaway.
Davis Richards.
So we're going to add how much to that, Evan? 50?
Well, about 50 seconds probably.
So 50 seconds. So Weishart is going to be down about a lap, a little over a lap. Am I correct in that?
I would think so.
So then he's going to have to gain a little over a lap in 30 laps with... I'm
going to go back to saying McDaniel's going to get it. My original guess.
Now, I won a race in a league at Charlotte, and it was a 110-lap race, I believe. It went green.
Yeah I remember that race.
Very similar.
It sucked for me.
It was very similar. It was some drivers did 3-stop, some drivers did 2-stop. I won on the 2-stop, but I thought I was going to win by about 10 seconds. I only ended up winning by about 2 seconds. I just hardly hung on. And like I said earlier, it was kind of a battle of you had to know what you were in, and you couldn't get kind of upset or stressed when you were getting passed. You had to think long term. So McDaniel has done a really good job at doing that, as he has just now gotten under 20 seconds.
Yeah, this should be interesting coming down to the end of this thing. And with Weishart's speed, I mean, you never know what could happen. He's going to have way fresher tires than McDaniel will, and he's shown to be pretty much faster when they're on even tires. So who knows? Who knows? And McDaniel could make a mistake. We've seen these guys very loose all night.
Yes, they have. It does look like, though, as the track has rubbered in, I think it's tightened up a little bit. I haven't really seen as many kind of catastrophic slides. I don't know about you guys. So
it seems like the slides have turned in from the rear getting loose to the front getting tight and going up into the wall.
Yeah, which then these guys, we've seen a couple of close calls nearly bringing out the caution from guys hitting the wall and then getting sideways. But other than that, yeah, the track does seem to have tightened up.
So as this race progresses, we are already Only about 33 laps to go in the event, so the pit stop should be coming within 2 to 3 laps for Weishart, and this will really set us up for the finish that we're going to have for you guys.
Absolutely.
And just to mention, I mean, we've only been focusing on these 2 leaders right now. The top 5. In third is Bryant Ward. I think he still is actually on the lead lap still.
Here comes Weishart into pit road.
A little bit early, a couple laps early is Weishart on the pit lane. He only was on about 37 laps right there.
He may be trying to ensure that he does still have somewhat of a chance to catch back up to McDaniel for the end of this
Maybe
thing.
he's kind of foreseeing, kind of similar to how we are, just kind of seeing how this race may end and that he may have a larger gap than he thought, so every extra lap he can run will help him close in. So McDaniel will enjoy actually we have
big lead.
I think it's about 13 seconds still over Bryant Ward, who is passing Davis Richards with a big slide there to the inside. Ricky Fagone, haven't talked about him too much, but he is in third, and he is just now coming to pit lane for the similar strategy that Weishart's on.
Yeah, Weishart just made his way out of pit lane, now merging on the back stretch here, so... And
couple drivers on pit road, but all multiple laps down.
And there's
McDaniel.
McDaniel just going by Weishart to put him 1 lap down. Now Weishart fighting back and getting back on the lead lap. So he was a lap down for about 3 seconds.
So 30 laps to gain 1 lap. That is the task for the number 21 machine right now.
So he's got to gain over a second a lap.
So is this kind of a...
McDaniel's going to win unless there's a caution.
Is this a hold my beer, I got this, or...
Now, there still is the possibility that on older tires, McDaniel could make a mistake. Or multiple mistakes.
But
I mean, we've been seeing it all night.
There's also a chance with Weishart pushing so hard, there's a chance he might also make a mistake.
Yeah, so it goes both ways for sure. But in order for Weishart to win this race, McDaniel would have to make some sort of a mistake, I would assume. I don't think he can make up a second a lap.
Last time by,
he was a second and a half quicker.
So a second and a half.
So maybe I stand corrected.
A second and a half. That's how many seconds to get to 30?
Now it will start to slow down, but if he can hold this pace at least for a little while, even if he starts to slow down, he could still get there.
I'd say it's about 20 laps. I want to say at a second and a half.
I think you're about right.
So that would still mean if it's at a second and a half a lap, he should have enough time. But as you said, the tires will kind of equalize a little bit, so he will still have faster lap times, but most likely not at the same clip.
So very interesting strategy coming into the end of this race, folks. Be sure to stick around. Should be interesting to see if Weishart can get back around to McDaniel and try to take the lead at the end of this thing. Oh, Stokes almost collected Weishart in a mess.
Looks like Stokes got up into the wall a few times. Got into the wall in 1 and 2. Bounced off of it, hit it again, bounced off of it, and hits it a 3rd time. And that's a 4th time.
And then by the time
just about collects Weishart.
And that's not a very easy part of the track to make any evasive maneuvers, but the 21 did do just that.
Weishart avoiding disaster there. So, folks, while we have the moment, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really does help us out a lot. And the drive for 500 subscribers is real. Help us get there, and definitely will be awesome. And, you know, once we get to 500 subscribers, YouTube kind of helps us out a little bit and helps get us seen a little bit more than what we are now. So that's what we're aiming for, folks. 500 subscribers, it should be good. We'll make sure we have maybe a little bit of a treat for the fans once we hit that that little milestone there.
Yeah, we are still working with the PTR team clash. We posted that a couple weeks ago. Haven't got the interest we are hoping for, but there is still some time. We have about a week and a half before we cut that and make a decision if that's going to go. It's going to be 3 races a night on 3 different configurations over 3 nights to get a team champion over the course of 3 nights, and then an overall champion. So that is a really interactive event for drivers on teams. We know how many drivers are on teams, so there will be a link in the description with that. You can also check social media.
So, get down to 20 seconds.
Not bad so far.
And we'll bring up the lap graphic so we can see how everyone is running right now. And last time by, a 29.95 for Weishart and a 31.18, so I was about 1.2 seconds for Weishart over McDaniel. So 1.2, as we said, already kind of dropping off that 1.5 clip that it was before.
So at this point, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just, I'm still taking the 21, but I'm taking it very tentatively. 20 laps to gain 20 seconds. I think he can get there, I really do.
Daniel was just forced to slow down a little bit through lap traffic, so that may help Weishart out just a little bit further.
Under 18 seconds now.
Oh boy, this should be interesting coming down to the end, folks. Nevertheless, if Weishart can keep ticking down laps like he is.
If he can keep ticking these laps, he will catch him. But I think McDaniel had some sort of issue because he was 2 seconds slower than Weishart.
Yeah, he ran into some lap traffic up there and really had nowhere to go, caught him through the corner and really had to slow down. So that definitely hurt McDaniel.
Yeah, and right now, Weishart is not too far. He's only about 3 seconds away from Bryant Ward. That will be the 2nd position. I can't imagine, as we saw last time by, that Ward will put too much of a fight, but you know he will at least try. As Stokes just ahead of Weishart. Stokes in the 11, still having some issues there down the back straightaway I saw, and still getting loose to 3 and 4. He is now 3 laps down as the number 11.
Yeah, Stokes has a little bit fresher tires than Weishart, so he was able to get by him, and now starting to pull away just a little bit, and he's going to be trying to get by Ward here shortly.
Yes, sir. And Brandon Stokes making his way around the 44 now. That's a lap truck of the 11 machine. And David Weishart quickly coming up to the back of that 44 machine.
Yeah, they about 20 lap fresher tires, obviously, so that shouldn't be too much of a battle. We'll see what the lap time was. It was down to exactly 1 second faster was Weishart, then McDaniel down to 14 seconds with 17 laps to go. Do the math.
So if he keeps this up, he'll catch him and probably pass him.
Because how much of a fight is McDaniel going to have on 50 lap tires?
But Weishart, he's caught up in a lot of lap traffic, and also the 44. Bryant
Ward. Weishart sideways. Once he gets around the 44, he should be okay, and there he goes. 44 lets him go.
But even that little bit of speed loss there, that he needs to gain a second a lap or very close to that. So any deviation from that, any slower of a interval gain, that is going to hurt his chances.
And he has a little bit of a buffer. I mean, he gained, you know, 1.5 seconds, couple laps here and there, and 2 seconds here and there. But, you know, so he does have a little bit of a buffer, but he doesn't have much room to be playing with.
Last time by he only gained about 0.9 of a second.
Got caught up in that traffic. That's still not bad for getting caught up in that traffic.
But he's only down to 12 seconds now. 12 seconds with 14 to go. Well, 16 to go, rather. So the signs are pointing in his direction.
Should be interesting. He does have a little bit of lap traffic here. Hopefully, in his favor, he's hoping he can catch them in the right place to try to catch them on a straightaway and get around them that way.
Down to 12 seconds, a 31.56 to a 30.78, but that's only 0.8 of a second. So McDaniel is starting to stabilize out. Weishart's starting to drop off. We'll see what it is this time by. Still waiting for Weishart to cross the line. Actually, that was only about 0.7.
Weishart may be starting to slow down. He did have a little bit of a wiggle there.
He's now
I think it's just he pushed so hard trying to gain the time, and now he lost a lot of time behind that number 68.
That's Phil
Had
Gary.
to slam on the brakes.
But just before this race runs down, I want to give you a quick field rundown now. We only have about 10 drivers left in the race, so we'll let you know where they are. Travis McDaniel is leading. David Weishart is in second. Bryant Ward in third. Phil Gary in the fourth spot. Ricky Fagone in fifth. Brooks Potts in sixth. Joseph McOrder in seventh. Brandon Stokes down to eighth. Bradley Cooper is in ninth. Garrett Grant is in 10th. Those are the drivers still on the raceway.
Now Weishart getting by the 50 of Brooks Potts.
Six-tenths of a second faster than was Weishart. So
no, actually about 8 tenths a second. I don't think Weishart fully crossed over yet.
Yeah, it just updated. That is the gap. It's about I got an 11-second buffer I have to accommodate for. So we'll see it again this time by. Coming off of 4 is your leader, running a lap time of 31.46. Waiting for Weishart, just now crossing the stripe, 30.96, so that is only a half second.
I think McDaniel's going to bring it home unless the caution does come out. Which if a caution comes out in 5 laps, the race will be over.
So,
still 10, about going to be 10 laps to go this time by.
Wiggle off of 4 there for McDaniel. That's going to cost him some time.
Oh boy.
Only ran a 32.21.
And Weishart ran a 30.90, actually 30.97.
8.5 seconds with 10 laps to go.
Now, how hard is McDaniel going to push the issue now with his truck and try to push it on those 50-lap tires, knowing Weishart is still closing in?
Well, right now, I don't think McDaniel needs to push it very hard. Because if he just keeps up a steady pace, I believe he should still be able to finish ahead of Weishart.
The racer's mind, and not talking about our podcast, we, you see that gap starting to close, what would be going through your head?
And Weishart in the wall.
Oh boy. Sideways is Weishart. Good save there.
Gonna cost him time.
It's just, well, as we've said, when you're in McDaniel's spot, you have to run your race. You know that you're losing your gap, and you know that there's nothing you can do about it. All he can do is run smooth laps as quick as he can, but he just needs to stay in control and keep that truck off the wall. He can't do anything as he almost gets in the fence there off of 2.
He almost gets into the back of the 7 as well.
He can't do anything to not lose time. He just needs to minimize how much time he does lose, if that makes sense.
Right now, I think Weishart is really starting to slow down. I'm pretty confident that he will not be able to catch him unless McDaniel makes a mistake.
7 seconds and 7 laps. And he hasn't been a second and a lap faster for quite a while now. So he might get down to about, I think he's going to get down to about 3 seconds when it's all said and done. The iRacing cutoff lap is about 5 laps to go, so that would be about 2 more laps, and the race will be over by 1 flag or another.
And again, still very possible that one of these drivers could make a mistake. But if things stay the way they are now, Travis McDaniel should be coming home with the victory.
6.5 second gap now.
So he's about a half second off of the pace per lap that he needs to be at. So again, I didn't think there was any chance of this working earlier, but what do you know? I would be very curious to hear these interviews and what these drivers thought ahead of time, if they thought we were going to go green every single lap here at Darlington for race number 8.
5 laps to go here from Darlington.
This will even the win count out at 3 apiece for Weishart and McDaniel, assuming that the order does finish as it stands right now. The only other winners of the season are Richard Holland, who we haven't seen in a couple weeks, and Mick Warder, last week's winner. Here comes Brandon Stokes in the 11 on fresher tires. We saw him in the top 5 earlier, but he has had many encounters with the Darlington stripe in the wall there, so that has put a little bit of a hamper on his day, but he'll still finish most likely in the 8th position.
Coming into the back of McDaniel now. Kind of riding behind him, now going to duck down low through the corner.
It's going to cost McDaniel some time.
Still won't be enough, I don't think. 3 laps to go.
And a
5-second gap. Just under 5 seconds now.
Yeah, so it's going to take a chronic mistake by the number 2 machine, which, given the
just
fact...
about had.
Yeah, he doesn't have to push it right now. He could just run a methodical pace and really just... He could back it off 1.5 seconds a lap and he'll still win this race. Obviously, I don't think he's going to go that drastic with it, but 2 laps to go here at Darlington Raceway. Through corners number 1 and 2, Travis McDaniel has been up front of tonight's race for 59 laps. So it'll be 61 if he could take the checkered flag down the back straightaway for the penultimate time, entering turn number 3 and 4. Number 2 machine looking for the white flag.
Coming down off of turn number 4 now that number 2 comes around, taking the white flag, this time by...
4-second gap from McDaniel to Weishart.
As Travis McDaniel works his way into the back straightaway, he's been out front for 60 laps now, and never thought this 2-stump strategy would work here, but David Weishart not going to be able to catch him as Travis McDaniel comes off of turn number 4, checker flag in the air. Travis McDaniel will win it in the Lady in Black Darlington Raceway.
Weishart coming home P2 and is still waiting for Bryant Ward, who's coming out of turn number 4 now. And Bryant Ward will come home in 3rd.
So that is
our congratulations go out to the number 2 machine.
Yep, so that is our top 3 here tonight. Again, congratulations on his 3rd victory of the season for Travis McDaniel in the 2. We will step away for a brief moment and get the top 3 ready for post-race interviews, so stay with us here on PTR TV.
More with the race car. You know, the harder you drive it, a lot of times the better it goes. You can crawl up on that wheel and feel like you made the difference at the end of the night. Asphalt car, you can't overdrive them. Well, that was the first thing that I had to learn right off the bat is, oh my gosh, I've got to discipline myself, not overdrive this thing, and that's how you get the most out of it. Truth be told, communicating the right information to your crew and your crew chief so they can do their job and make their appropriate adjustments for you to go faster and do your job is probably 90% of the game in our world. I've always loved late models. You know, my dream was to be a late model driver driving for a living across the country like Daryl and Don do that drive for me. I mean, that was, truth be told, that was my dream, you know. I always wanted a semi. I always wanted a stacker trailer with 2 hot rods in it and let's go racing. Let's take off with your buddies and go race and chase that dream. Never in a million years did I think it would turn into a Cup Series, and I actually have an opportunity to own 2 you know, dirt late model teams. When you think of iRacing, you don't think of a video game. It's not. It's way above and beyond any of that. You know, dirt racing changes so much. The track changes so much. Being able to capture that, to, you know, experience all those details that surround dirt racing and make dirt racing what it is what makes iRacing so cool, because they did nail all of that. I knew when they came to our shop and scanned cars and
And we're back here on PTR TV for the post-race show after the Southern 200 at the Darlington Raceway for the Rivalry Racing League. Complete flag to flag under the green flag conditions, so great job for these guys to run a nice clean race. But we're going to start post-race interviews. Evan Black has caught up with the third-place finisher of Bryant Ward.
Out, and my fucking right hand hurts, my wrist hurts.
So Bryant, you come home with a third-place finish here tonight at Darlington. What are your thoughts after this race?
I'm tired, man. That was exhausting. David and Travis did a great job. David on his different pit strategy, and I don't know what Travis did to get away from me so far, to be honest with you, if it was in the pits that he made up some time or what. But one way or the other, I was happy to stay on the lead lap and finish third tonight and secure myself into the chase.
Looks like those trucks were a handful out there. How were they handling?
You know, the first run, I hadn't led a race in a while, and I wore the tires out a little early, and it got really loose bad. And then the second run, I was much more conservative, at least how I was getting off the turn and through the middle, and it saved my tires a lot better, so I had a pretty good understanding what the third stint was going to hold for me. And I went ahead and ramped it up a little bit, knowing David was going to be coming if he decided to pit, and I wasn't sure if he would pit or not. And but he did end up pitting, and he caught me, and then once again I started getting loose because I was running it just a little harder than I was that second time. But the truck was a handful, to be honest with you. It was really loose coming off both turns in the middle of 1 and 2. It was real bad too, so it was a lot of work to stay going straight tonight.
Coming into this race, did you have much of a strategy, or was it just on the fly?
No, Brooks and I, we practiced during the week, and we had planned on doing 50-50 and try to get to the end. And obviously it wasn't the right call. Maybe it was. Maybe that's what Travis did. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't seen it yet, but that was our game plan anyway. And I didn't think I'd have the speed to be on the pole, but I knew I could be up at the front. And I almost didn't qualify because I was locked into the chase pretty much, but I decided to, and I got the pole, so I was pretty happy about that.
All right, well, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to?
Yeah, you know, Devil Dog Racing, of course, our race team, Brooks Potts, my teammate, and comes helps me every week, and himself, and Travis for putting on a great show as always, and good job to Travis once again on the win.
All right, well, thanks for talking with us, and once again, congrats on your third place finish.
Thank you, sir.
And now Corey Silva will talk to second place finisher David Weishart.
All right, David, it was a second-place finish for you here tonight at Darlington. 150 laps completely under the green flag. Looks like you got bit there on the two-stop versus three-stop strategy. Talk about how the night was overall and how that strategy worked, trying to gain on him at the end there.
I got out there at the beginning of the race, and I felt pretty good. I knew I was going to do the three-stop strategy going in. And then I kind of pulled out on the first pit stop on Travis, and then on the third pit stop I pulled out on he waited a little bit later to pit, so I got a huge lead, and I was gonna pit a little bit later, but he was gaining on me too much there on that after his last pit stop, so I called an audible and pitted a few laps earlier. And that last run, I didn't anticipate him lapping me. I thought I'd be like half a lap, 3/4 of a lap down, but he lapped me, and I had to drive the wheels off of it. And me and Travis we were talking, and I was going to catch him. I was going to catch him with about 3 laps to go, and I got held by a couple lap cars, and I broke even with him for a couple laps in a row there, and that was about did it for me. And then I hit the wall a few times. Yeah,
we were watching into the booth trying to do the math ourselves, and it was kind of, well, just talk about how it was. Like, did you have any kind of doubts maybe midway in the race, kind of doing the math in your head if it was going to play out, or were you pretty confident that you were going to kind of be on the right strategy even though it didn't work out?
I was pretty confident. I was almost 100% confident in that strategy was going to work. And then until I came out of pit road and he lapped me coming off the pit road, then I was like, oh no. I got to get on it here. And that's when a little bit of doubt creeped in my head. Then I kind of saw how much I was catching him. And I thought I was going to get there, and then it just didn't work out.
Yeah, you ran out of laps, and I know it's been a hard night at Darlington. You get your We got another second place finish, so you're tied with the wins with McDaniel up top now. So who do you want to give your shout out to?
I want to thank my teammates, Garrett and Chris. They've been great all season. Got to thank Travis for doing this league. It's a lot of fun. Thank y'all for broadcasting. Thank my family and friends that are watching. I hope they enjoyed this race. It was a lot of fun to race, and that's about it.
All right, David. Not quite Travis. So congrats on your finish again, David, and we'll hopefully catch you next week.
All right, thank you. I'll catch y'all next week.
All right, and now Brandon Krutz will talk to tonight's victor, Travis McDaniel.
Yeah, he's out of the race car now. Your winner here tonight at the Darlington Raceway, Travis McDaniel. Travis, how you feeling?
Oh, this is unbelievable. I did not expect to win this. Daytona and Darlington the same year. It's been a good one so far.
And coming into this race tonight, first of all, did you expect it to go green all the way?
Not a chance. No, we did a couple pit parties there and practice. Didn't make it more than 2 laps, so I just tried to tell the guys, you got to give more than you take here. We're going to be doing this thing at 50 mile an hour behind a pace car. So they took it to heart, and I can't believe we just did Darlington caution free.
Man, oh man, I mean, so obviously you didn't expect this to go green all the way. Did you have a strategy going into this thing just in case?
No, not really. I did a couple long runs during the week, 52 I think being the longest, and you didn't want to drive it that long, but I ended up having to tonight. And once he went in at 40, I figured he was going to have to make it a 3-stop race, and I was going to have to do 2, but I didn't realize that the last 10 laps of those runs were going to make that big of a difference. And had he not got caught up back there, I think he would have caught me with 2 to 3 to go, and then he probably would have went on.
Man, I mean, tell us what it was like running on those old tires and trying to get through the lap cars with 50 lap old tires, and maybe some sketchy moments that you came across.
Yeah, it was like driving on ice. That's the only way to put it. Take your 4-wheeler out there to the pond and drive it on there. That's about what it was like. Impossible to control after 30 laps. I lost it several times. I had to gather it back up, but it's hard. It's tough on them old tires, and then especially when you're watching the screen there, you can see the seconds ticking off, and it's just a matter of time before it gets there, and then you try not to push it any harder, but you want to because you want to stay out there, and then you end up almost losing it off a 4. It's not fun, but hey, anytime I come out of here with a win, this racetrack, I'll take it.
Man, tell us also a little bit how that 2-stop strategy kind of popped into your head. Everybody else started to pit to go for 3 stops. Tell us what was going through your mind there.
Well, I saw him go in at 40, and I hadn't made up my mind what I was going to do. I thought everybody was going to run to 50. I thought everybody was going to make this 2 stops, and he went in at 40, and I said, I think I can get a little bit on him here because he's going to have to make another stop. At lap 80 to 85, I realized I had screwed up, but I had already made the bet and I had a lie at that point, so I just stayed with it. Luckily he got held up. That's all I can say, because if not, it was his.
Well, you did an amazing job handling that beast of a race truck around the Darlington Raceway here tonight. You tamed the lady in black here tonight. Is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, first and foremost, the guys who raced tonight. We just did Darlington caution free. I don't know of any other group that's ever done that. That's a huge deal. Thanks to everybody racing clean, real respectful out there, giving room. They were giving more than they were taking, so that's what I tried to tell them. Thanks to y'all for broadcasting. Say hi to friends and family. Got some people watching, and glad I was able to put this number 2 Florida State Chevy victory lane again.
Awesome job, Travis. Your winner of the night, Travis McDaniel.
All right, so that is the top 3 finishers here tonight from the Darlington Raceway. So let's wrap up coverage tonight with the final rundown. With the victory tonight, Travis McDaniel in the number 2 machine leading 61 laps. David Weishart led the most laps tonight with 79, but only finished in 2nd. Bryant Ward in 3rd, Phil Gary in 4th, Ricky Fagone in 5th, and then Joseph Pagorder in 6th. Brooks Potts finished 7th, Brandon Stokes in 8th.
And then Bradley Cooper came home in 9th, Garrett Grant in 10th, Robert Victory in 11th, Davis Richards in 12th, Chris Hadenfun in 13th, Tim Racino in 14th, and then around the field in 15th, Brady Campbell.
So that is your finishing order here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, a huge thank you to everybody here that helps us out with the channel. You know, Joe Chris behind the scenes, our quality control specialist, Corey Silva for producing, all of our commentators and everybody here that helps us out with PTR TV. And of course, we wouldn't have these broadcasts without our channel sponsors, Movement Fabrications. They're a family-run business formally established in 2012 with over 25 years of experience in the ventilation industry. They offer a wide range of services. This includes ducting, ventilation, extraction, and canopies. If you're in the Nottingham, UK area, Air Movement Fabrications is the ventilation service to trust. Also, Krutz Custom Graphics, custom racing shirts, hero cards, paint schemes, and much more. From local racers to big race teams, we've got your back. Based out of upstate New York, Krutz Custom Graphics is always P1. Also, iBog iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics, custom graphics, coding, and theme design for iRacing's two main overlay systems, ETVO and IRTVO. If you're a broadcast company looking to make your channel shine with custom overlays, talk to Jason Allison with iBog iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics. Also, for our track cameras that you see pretty much every night on the broadcast, Track Cams for Gourmet, and if you want some of these sweet angles for yourself and for your personal use, be sure to check him out at trackcams22.com or facebook.com/trackcams. Also, be sure to check out our Patreon to keep broadcast quality high and cost low for league owners. We need a little help from the fans. Check out our Patreon at patreon.com/PTRTV. If you become a Patreon, you'll get rewards that vary depending on how much you donate. Become a patron at patreon.com/PTRTV.
And so that's another broadcast here on PTR TV, and just actually you can see here on the long shot, that is the minnow pond to your top right there we were talking about earlier, just as a reference. But this is the Rivalry Racing League. We brought you to 150 laps of action. Congrats to Travis McDaniel for his win. Stay tuned. Tomorrow night, Hardline Cup Series, Midwest Power Source Cup Series, brought to you live here on PTR TV. Of course, on Mondays, we have the Integrity Racing League. Tuesdays, American Sim Racing Series. And then, of course, Rivalry every Thursday. Check out our podcast show, 7:45 Eastern on Mondays. We have a couple more in that season, so stay tuned for that. Busy time here on PTR TV. The drive for 500 is real. We're 52 away at the time of this broadcast. If you're watching and you are not subscribed, all you got to do is hit that little button below the screen. Signing out of the booth is Corey Silva, Brandon Krutz, and Evan Black. Joe Chris doing quality control. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.
Have a great night, everybody.
We'll catch you next time.